Hey there, folks. How do I start? My guest today is the president of Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He goes by the name of Dr. Moreno-Riaño, but he lets me call him Gerson. Gerson, welcome to the program.
Eric, thank you so much. It's great to be with you again, Eric. Thank you.
I'm uh I'm really excited because as part of our partnership, you've made me a distinguished fellow, presidential fellow at Cornerstone in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I get to come this week. I've been there before, but I get to come for the first time in my official capacity as a distinguished presidential fellow. That is this week. We should announce it. That's this week. So this Thursday, which is October 30th, and Friday, October 31st, which is a very spooky date. Actually, I want to drew people in case.
We did this on Eric. We did this on purpose. We wanted to bring you in on Halloween, Eric.
Well, the beauty of Halloween is All Hallows Eve, and we're taking it back from the demonic hordes that have tried to claim it as their own. Just like we're taking Christmas back. Christmas is not about Santa Claus and presents; it's about the birth of Jesus Christ.
That's
Halloween
right.
is All Hallows Eve. We'll talk about that another time. But so just to be specific, I will be at Cornerstone. So this Thursday and this Friday, and if anybody wants to come, there is an event 7:30 a.m. Folks, I have to be there, so I will be there, even though that's before. Normally, I would do a public event, but I will be caffeinated and psyched. So I will be. Actually, I'll be interviewed by you, Gerson. Is that right?
That's right. It's our leadership forum. We've got close to 200 business leaders coming, so it'll be you and I sort of doing a fireside chat, Eric.
A fireside chat. Okay, so that is 7:30 a.m. this Thursday, October 30th. And the official event space, I have it here in front of me. It's the Matthews Performing Arts Center at Cornerstone Theological Seminary, 7:30 a.m. I love dialogue, so that'll be fun for us to do. And
Yeah.
then Friday, October 31st, 10 a.m., I am the chapel speaker. If you come to Christ Chapel at Cornerstone University this Friday, 10 a.m., Grand Rapids, I will be there. And of course, I should say, after both of these events on Thursday and Friday, I'll be delighted to hang out, sign books,
Hmm.
meet anybody who would like to meet. It's a joy for me. So we want to say that up front. Really looking forward to that. Um, Gerson, what should we talk about? You mentioned to me earlier that President Trump has made, I don't know if it's your words or his words, a compact with higher education. What about tell us about that?
Yes, thank you, Eric. Well, about a month ago, the Department of Education sent a letter with a draft compact for academic excellence in higher education, and it was sent to about nine different institutions: Brown, MIT, University of Texas, Vanderbilt, Dartmouth, a few others, and laying out really 9 to 10 sort of principles for how the administration was envisioning the way in which higher education should partner with the federal government if higher education wanted to continue reaping the benefits of the partnership. In other words, financial
Let
aid,
me let me ask a
grant
question.
monies.
When you said sent to 9 or 10 institutions, why so few? I mean, we have thousands of institutions of
Yeah.
of higher learning in America. Why did the president's office send it to so few?
I think it was a what I call a trial balloon. I mean, it was in essence a draft, but they said it's largely done the way that it is. We're sending it to you for feedback, for acceptance and feedback, and we want to hear from you as soon as possible. I see it as a trial balloon in many ways, quite frankly, Eric, because it's fairly revolutionary what the president is trying to accomplish through this compact. And as of just this weekend, I think seven of the nine institutions said no, we're not interested. One said we're willing to work with you. That's University of Texas, and one Vanderbilt said maybe we're not sure. We're concerned. So the trial balloon, in essence, showed that if these institutions are willing to say no, seven of them, that's largely what's going to be sort of the response of most universities in our country. So I think it gave the universe the president great insight into the climate in higher education right now.
Well, I mean, I think he already knew these things. I would say it didn't give him great insight, but it gives him proof to show the American people how left
Yeah.
wing and Marxist most institutions of higher learning are. And just to be clear to my audience, folks, I don't think the federal government should have much say in anything, period. But, but if they're giving you money, then it should come with strings attached. Why are they giving you money? They expect certain standards from you. If you don't like those standards, well, then you don't need to take the money. And I think this is a beautiful way for the federal government to weed out those institutions that are not willing to get on board with. Let's face it, we're talking about basic stuff. We're not talking about, you need to have a statue of Donald Trump, in the middle of the university. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about fascism or authoritarianism. We're talking about basic uh, basic adherence to standards that you, Dr. Moreno-Riaño, as president of a university, and I, Eric Metaxas, as a graduate of a university and a private citizen, would say are good ideas, basic ideas. And the only reason I assume, and you can clarify, that the president is doing this because it is his clear belief that most of these institutions are purveyors of ideas antithetical to the American founding, antithetical to most of the beliefs of Americans, kind of the beliefs that we've taken for granted as a culture for a long time. But in the last 50 or 60 years, in the long march through the institutions, forces of, let's say, cultural Marxism, anti-Americanism have undermined our culture. And the president is, as you say, kind of floating a trial balloon with these initial universities to say, okay, here's what I think. What do you think? And do you still want federal money if you have to comply with, again, what most of us would see as really basic ideas? Can you explicate what some of those ideas are, some of those principles or
Yeah.
points?
Sure, Eric. I mean, I just read here are the pillars. Number one, equality in admissions. Number two, marketplace of ideas and civil discourse. Three, non-discrimination in faculty and administrative hiring. Four, institutional neutrality. Five, student learning. Six, student equality. Seven, financial responsibility. Number eight, foreign entanglements. And that's in essence the eight pillars. And frankly, Eric, when I read this document, about a 10-page compact, I realized that for decades there have been a number of individuals, significant academics and leaders, saying that these things need to be addressed in higher ed. So this is not new. It's been out there for quite some time. Individuals concerned about how institutions, in essence, take students and remove equality in admissions and create, groups, special groups that, quite frankly, institutionalize victimhood, for example, or the lack of a marketplace of ideas and civil discourse. That's been out there for a long, long time. That what we have in the universities, unfortunately, is much more indoctrination than a real marketplace of ideas and civil discourse. Or a lot of data points to the fact that most faculty and oftentimes staff at universities, are hired, there's bias in hiring, for example, right? So we can go on and on. This has been out there for quite some time, so it's not new. What's so bold, though, and I commend the president and the administration for their courage, is to say, look, we want to talk about this. We need to shift the direction, and if you're receiving money from us, then you have to be willing to make some changes. If not, the compact says you're free to pursue other arrangements on your own, but don't expect that the federal government is going to continue to provide funds to you. So that was very clear right up front.
I have many questions. One is, why would the federal government be giving any funds to private universities? You mentioned Dartmouth, Brown. These are Ivy League universities with monster endowments, with
Yeah.
alumni that could, fund a moonshot. Why are they accepting money from the federal government? Or let me put it another way, why is the federal government offering them money? I don't understand that.
Well,
Well,
I
I
think,
think,
I mean,
for
for some
some
of
of
the
the
institutions,
institutions,
the
the
research
research
piece
piece
is
is
significant.
significant.
I
I
mean,
mean, they're
receiving
receiving
federal
federal
dollars
dollars
for
for
research
research
and
and
research
research
grants.
grants.
It's
It's
a
a
significant
significant
amount
amount
of
of
their
their
budget.
budget. So I think that's one significant strength that the federal government is pulling
Okay,
right
when you
now.
say research, and I assume you're talking about straight arrows, you're talking about medical research. You're not talking about
Yeah,
funding Marxist American studies programs.
correct. That's correct. But I think the administration is saying, look, we've been doing this for a long time. And as a matter of fact, in the admission, in the letters that some of these schools wrote rejecting the compact, they argued, look, we've been part of a partnership for decades, and we are advancing the public good. So there's nothing wrong with what we're doing necessarily. Our missions are for the public good. Therefore, this is not necessary. In essence, they said this compact is a threat to our mission and a threat to our ability to advance the public good. So there's a big discussion here brewing, which I think is very important for the country to be having right now.
I'm just fascinating that, I mean, really, for me, what has become clearer and clearer in the last few years is, as a New Yorker, I would describe it as the chutzpah of a lot of these leftist institutions. They dare to pretend as though they're beyond being questioned, they're beyond being investigated or uh, entering into a dialogue. Leave us alone. By fiat, we declare we're doing things for the public good. Give us the money and shut up. And you think, well, wait a minute, that money's not coming from President Trump. That's coming from me, my parents,
Right.
whoever paid taxes is giving money to Dartmouth, to Brown, to Vanderbilt. You've mentioned a few of these institutions. Why are taxpayers giving them money? And again, if you believe in the free market, you think, well, listen, if we don't give them the money, we can give the money to institutions that actually agree with these basic ideas. So it's not as though we're going to cease funding cancer research. We will just fund it at places that have the honesty to say, we're willing to go along with these ideas rather than take umbrage at the very idea that they should have to answer for these basic things before they get the money.
Yeah, I think the assumption, Eric, has been for a long time that universities are always doing the right thing and they're always advancing the public good. I think that's what the public believes or thinks, number one. And number two, hey, universities allow people to sow wild oats, but eventually people mature out of those things and become normal, right, in some way. But the reality is that we're seeing that's not the case. That these institutions, even though in their missions they speak about the public good, the fruit is not that at all, and we've seen it now in the last 5 or 6 years. It's antithetical to American democracy, to our republic, to our founding ideals, to what it means to have a flourishing society. And two, these individuals are leaving these universities, and they're not leaving these ideas behind. Many of them are being radicalized or becoming amoral or agnostic, and that's destructive to the common good, to a good social order. So it's having a significant impact. I think the public sees it. I think the public feels it. And now everyone's starting to ask these questions. I think the president and his administration have the courage now to put it on paper and say, look, this is a real problem. And we need to address this, and you have to address it. But now I think the fight is on because institutions and most of higher ed now are saying, no, we don't want this compact. It is an attack on academic freedom. That's the charge. It's an attack on academic freedom. We don't want any of it.
What a lie. I mean, nobody's telling them they can't do whatever they want. You want to do what you want? Go ahead. We can disapprove of it, but we're not going to stop you. It's a free country. We will just not fund you with federal funds that taxpayers working 9 to 5 jobs are that they're paying their taxes. We're not going to fund you with their money. Working class people who pay taxes don't need to fund you, Brown University. Brown University, by the way, has been a hotbed of leftism forever.
Right.
Dartmouth, of course, has gone in that direction. All of these institutions they're playing a game, and you know this better than anybody because you're the president of a university. But all of these other universities, when they talk about the public good, I dare them to define the public good. It's like asking, what is a woman? They will be stymied because they don't dare even speak about this. So the dirty secret is that they're going to pretend that we all know what the public good is. But if you try to get them to begin to explicate their idea of the public good, they won't open their mouths because they will immediately condemn themselves as purveyors of cultural Marxism, DEI ideas, every kind of leftism, intersectionality. So they are banking on the idea that the alumni of our institutions, when they think of us, they think of football games, and they think of whatever it was like 40 or 50 years ago, maybe. But what's going on right now is a different thing. But we don't want to wake them up, because they're sending in their dues every year. And that's kind of the dirty secret. I mean, I realized that with Yale University, is that when you think of Yale, they want you to think of dear old Yale, but the dear old Yale died, 100 years ago, basically, and has been increasingly leftist. But they don't want the alumni to know this, because then a number of the alumni will say, wait a minute, what's going on? Of course, this happened in Harvard recently. Bill Ackman foolishly gave millions of dollars to Harvard, suddenly realized October 7th, 2023, he's funding anti-Semitic lunacy. So he's going to stop funding. But it took him to 2023. And so there are tons of alumni who think, oh, I give to Harvard, I give to you. And finally they're waking up. And that's at the heart of this conversation. Trump is, in a sense, calling their bluff.
Absolutely. And two things. And interesting you mentioned college football, because I found it tremendously funny and sad over the weekend. Brian Kelly from Louisiana State University is fired as a football coach. So the governor of Louisiana called apparently an emergency meeting on Sunday night with the board of directors of Louisiana for higher ed to talk about football. So, right? And thinking there's a crisis, a real serious issue with higher ed in every state, right? And you see it now, but the focus is on things like that. As wonderful as college football is, I just found it sort of, ironic that that's the attention of a governor right now, the football program, right? When you have significant crises in higher ed. And Eric, a few years back, I wrote a piece called Reviving American Higher Ed. It appeared in the Academic Questions Journal of the National Association of Scholars. And I looked at the public missions of universities and what they say about themselves and what they actually do, right? And if I were to look at these, I just read you briefly four mission statements briefly, and what they say of major universities like Harvard, MIT, University of Virginia, Arizona State. They talk about educating citizens with the transformative power of liberal arts, or they serve their nation by developing responsible citizen leaders. Or we seek to develop in each member of our community the ability and passion to work wisely. I mean, these things sound really, really good. But to your point, I don't think they're willing to define them. And when you look at what they're actually doing, you realize they're not really fulfilling their mission, which is a very serious issue for any institution that's receiving federal money or seeking accreditation or reaccreditation of any kind. You have to focus on your mission and show that you're meeting your mission. But when you speak about wisdom, responsibility, these are very serious things, moral words, moral principles. When you look at the fruit of these institutions and what they're doing, you have to wonder, are you really fulfilling your mission and holding yourself accountable to it? And I think part of the challenge now, problem, and I think the president and his department, the Department of Education is right, you have not held yourself accountable. You want our monies. You're not holding yourself accountable to a number of things. Now we're going to hold you accountable by pulling the money. And to your point, they don't want accountability. They want the money.
They want the money. Well, we're going to have to leave it there, but it's just, I'm glad many people are waking up, and I'm glad we have a president willing to force these institutions to deal with reality. You want money? Great. We have some money. It's taxpayer money, so we have to be very careful how we spend it. Can you please assure us you're not using it for nefarious ends? They refuse. Okay, fine. Then we'll take back the money, and you can keep doing what you're doing. Good luck. Well,
Yeah.
listen, Gerson, I'm just grateful. I'm going to see you this week again, folks. Cornerstone University, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'll be there 7:30 a.m. At the Matthews Performing Arts Center, Cornerstone Theological Seminary. We're going to have a dialogue together on many issues. And then Friday, 10 a.m. in the chapel, Christ Chapel, on October 31st. Gerson Moreno-Riaño, thank you, my friend, for inviting me to be a distinguished presidential fellow at Cornerstone. I look forward to seeing you, and thanks for being my guest on this program.
Eric, thank you. We're looking forward to seeing you. I can tell you there's a lot of buzz on our campus and community about you coming. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. I know many, many, many folks are as well. So thank you, Eric, for all you do, and see you soon.